Welcome to another Walter Football video. I'm Charlie Campbell, Senior Draft Analyst. Before we get rolling, I suggest you click in the settings, speed it up to 1.25 or 1.5. All right, let's get into the mock, what I think NFL teams will do, not what they should do. First overall, Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, done deal. He's the pick. Jags get their future franchise quarterback. Now they got to build it up right around him, but he's an elite athlete, great arm, passing ability, intangibles, the real deal. So Jacksonville's fortunate to land him. Now they just got to make some wise decisions with their other picks and their money to spend in free agency, and they could become one of the elite teams in the AFC with Lawrence at quarterback. Second overall, I have the Jets taking Zach Wilson, quarterback from BYU. I think New York is just going to end up trending more towards taking Wilson, trading Sam Darnold. If they can't get Deshaun Watson, that's the direction I think they go as the coaches get more involved in the draft process. So Wilson to the Jets at 2 to me. And if they trade for Watson, then I think Wilson's going second overall to Houston. So I think Wilson's in pretty good position here to go second overall to some team. And if the Jets don't like him, they could trade down to, say, like a team like Carolina, and Wilson still goes second overall. So things are looking good for him. Third overall, I have the Dolphins taking Jamar Chase, wide receiver from LSU. They could use another weapon for Tua, kind of give them co-number ones with Devontae Parker. You got Gesicki on the inside at tight end. Will make things much more difficult for defenses and coverage, and could really help Tua make a big step in year 2. Fourth overall, I have the Falcons taking Justin Fields, quarterback from Ohio State. Atlanta is kind of in that facing the rebuilding process now. I think if you have a potential future franchise quarterback available, you got to take them. You don't know if you'll have a shot at one next year. You don't know where you'll be picking. You don't know if the prospects will be available. So if you have one available, you can't pass on it. And I think that for Atlanta, it'd make more sense to kind of deal the veterans, really embrace that the rebuild is happening, rather than kind of hold out hope that they can flip the defense around quick enough to get back into Super Bowl contention with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones before they're done. But regardless, I could see, even if those guys are coming back, you take Fields, let them sit and learn behind Ryan for a year or two, and then you make the switch. Fifth overall, I have the Bengals taking Penei Sewell, left tackle from Oregon. Obviously, they got to improve that offensive line in front of Joe Burrow. You could move Jonah Williams inside to guard or center or right tackle. Now you upgraded your line at 2 spots. Make this line much better for Joe Burrow in year 2. Give him that elite left tackle to protect the blind side. Sixth overall, I have the Eagles taking Kyle Pitts, tight end from Florida. He's really a tight end / wide receiver because he plays split end receiver. He plays slot receiver. There's so much you can do with him. He's the most dynamic mismatch receiving weapon in this draft class. Pitts could be a generational talent at tight end. Tony Gonzalez, Travis Kelce type tight end. Some teams think he could be a poor man's Calvin Johnson at wide receiver. He's 6'6", 240, can run, amazing after the catch, leaping ability, is never really covered. Such a dynamic mismatch problem. Would be such an asset for Jalen Hurts in the second year of his career. Really help that offense. You put him across from Jalen Reagor, make it tough on defenses with their safeties, improve that playmaking ability in the passing game, and I think this pick makes a ton of sense for Philly. Seventh overall, I have the Lions taking Elijah Vera Tucker, left tackle guard from USC. I think for the Lions, their big needs, defensive tackle, linebacker, there just isn't the value there at those positions. They could use an upgrade at right tackle, and if you take a player like Vera Tucker, now you have the makings of one of the best offensive lines in the NFL with Taylor Decker and Ragnow and Jonah Jackson. That's going to be a really nice offensive line. Will make Jared Goff's life a lot easier with that line to give him protection and to run the ball with DeAndre Swift. So while this isn't the sexiest of picks, I think it makes sense for Detroit. They can target receiver, linebacker help in the second, third round, where I think the value would make sense for them. 8th overall, I have the Panthers taking Caleb Farley, cornerback from Virginia Tech. I don't think Carolina likes Trey Lance that much. I think that Farley gives them that number one outside corner that they badly need. They didn't replace James Bradbury a year ago. It really hurt them this past season. They need a big number one outside corner, a guy with size and speed, and Farley has a great skill set. 9th overall, I have the Broncos taking Patrick Surtain, the second cornerback from Alabama. They've lacked that outside corner since Aqib Talib left. Surtain could be that number one outside corner for Vic Fangio. I like the scheme fit there in Denver. 10th overall, I have the Cowboys taking J.C. Horn, cornerback from South Carolina. Horn is just such a dynamic, competitive corner. He can run the route, really tough, really battles receivers, is physical, just doesn't necessarily have the deep speed that, say, Farley does. But I think Horn is just a pure football player. I think he'd be an upgrade for Dallas, really improve their coverage. 11th overall, I have the Giants taking Jalen Waddle, wide receiver from Alabama. They have to improve their weapons for Daniel Jones. Waddle is a home run hitter, a threat to score on any touch. Definitely a player that would have an instant impact for New York, and I think he could be a Tyreek Hill type receiver for the Giants. 13th overall, 12th. Getting ahead of myself. All right, 12th overall, I have the 49ers taking Trey Lance, quarterback from North Dakota State. Even if Jimmy G comes back, you can put Lance behind him for a year, develop him, let him learn from Kyle Shanahan. That would be huge for his development. And then in a year or so, you can move on from Jimmy G and replace him with Lance. Lance has a better skill set than Garoppolo. Garoppolo's just too injury prone, too inconsistent. I think the 49ers look for an upgrade. 13th overall, I have the Chargers taking Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman from Northwestern. He played left tackle, looks like a better fit at guard or center in the NFL, considering that he's 6'3" and 33-inch arms. That's kind of undersized, very undersized for NFL left tackle, but the Chargers have a ton of their interior linemen hitting free agency. They cut Trey Turner. They got to improve that offensive line. Slater's a good talent. You can take him and just put him at the position he does best, and now you've just gotten yourself a rock-solid offensive lineman, and they got to build up that talent up front in front of Casey Hayward. 14th overall, I have the Vikings taking Kwity Paye, edge rusher from Michigan. I think the Vikings could definitely stand to improve that defensive line. They could use more youth at end. Paye is big, he's quick, he's athletic, he's versatile where you can slide him inside to tackle in the sub package. And then you have him and Donnell Hunter and DJ Wonnum all on the field together at the same time to really make life tough on quarterbacks. I think that really improved the Vikings' pass defense in the long run, and Paye is a nice value for them at pick 14. 15th overall, I have the Patriots taking Devontae Smith, wide receiver from Alabama. Plug-and-play upgrade for New England. Smith would be such an upgrade for Cam Newton with his playmaking ability, his route running, the ability to get open and create separation. Just has to stay healthy given the thin build. He did it in college. I think he can do it in the NFL. I think this pick makes a lot of sense for New England. 16th overall, I have the Cardinals taking Tyson Campbell, cornerback from Georgia. Campbell, he's big, he's fast, he's athletic, really big upside, has to get stronger, get better at playing the ball in the 50-50 passes. But looking at Steve Keim's drafts, he's trended towards these athletes with great skill sets and upside. You think of Isaiah Wilson, Robert Nkemdiche, DJ Humphries, even the quarterbacks, Kyler Murray, Josh Rosen. And so I could see Campbell fitting in with that track record of picks that Keim has done there in Arizona. All right, 17th, I have the Raiders taking Christian Darrisaw, left tackle from Virginia Tech. Las Vegas, that offensive line is there. It's in flux right now. You traded Trent Brown. The guards are gone. So you're going to need more offensive line help. They need an interior pass rusher. They need a defensive tackle upgrade, but the value just isn't there. But Darisaw could come in. You could play him at right tackle, but you could play him at left tackle and move Colton Miller to right tackle, and I think that would make sense in the long term given kind of how those two linemen are built. But with the Raiders not having good D-tackle options available in the first round, I think it makes sense to address that offensive line. 18th overall, I have the Dolphins taking Gregory Rousseau, edge rusher from Miami. Obviously, the Dolphins could use more pass rush, but they've cut Kyle Van Noy. Shaq Lawson was traded. They could use another guy to go across from Emmanuel Ogbah. Rousseau has good length to him. He's just not that fast or explosive, not physical. He needs to get stronger, become more powerful, and I could see Brian Flores taking him and developing him well. That's what Brian Flores has done throughout his career, so I think Rousseau would have the potential to blossom with a coach like Flores. All right, 19th, I have Washington taking Jackson Carman, left tackle from Clemson. Obviously, the Redskins have got to get a left tackle to replace Trent Williams. It's a big hole on that roster. Carman is 6'5", 340, easy mover, really big athletic upside. I think he makes sense for them. 20th overall, I have the Bears taking Alex Leatherwood, left tackle from Alabama. Another offensive lineman here. The tackle values are really good at this portion of the draft. The Bears' offensive line has got to get better. Leatherwood is big. He's got quickness, athleticism. He can play that typewriter on it with his feet and just protect the edge, shut down that edge, be a really nice upgrade for the Bears. And he has a history of playing guard, so he's versatile. You could start him out at guard and move him back to tackle. But for the Bears needing to improve that offensive line, I think this pick makes a lot of sense. 21st overall, I have the Colts taking Trayvon Moehrig, TCU safety. Malik Hooker's hitting free agency. With his injury history, it looks like he probably won't be back. Moehrig gives them a safety that's big, versatile, has some athleticism. You can do different things with him in coverage, has some tackling ability as well. I think he fits the Colts defense nicely. 22nd, I have the Titans taking Micah Parsons, linebacker from Penn State. Tennessee's got to improve their linebackers. They need to improve their pass rush. Parsons is a dynamic blitzer. That's probably what he does best. So you could play him at inside linebacker and then have him rush off the edge in the sub package as a 3-4 outside linebacker. I like that fit for Mike Vrabel. 23rd overall, I have the Jets taking Aaron Robinson, cornerback from UCF. New York has got to improve their cornerbacks. Robinson is big, quick, athletic, has a nice ability to cover and play man. He can play press man, off man. Not a great zone corner, but I think with what Robert Saleh ran in San Francisco, Robinson could do that well. They can play him press man, off man, really improve their coverage there for New York. 24th overall, I have the Steelers taking Travis Etienne, running back from Clemson. Pittsburgh is in win now mode. There's no position that can come in and necessarily have a bigger impact on wins and losses than if you have a dominant running back. And with an aging quarterback, I think this pick makes a ton of sense. He's going to put some juice into that Steelers rushing offense, bring it back to that Le'Veon Bell days where you have a running back that's a dynamic, dangerous receiver, be a really nice check down weapon for Big Ben. And with the Steelers in win now mode, I think this is an instant impact pick that could help them right away. 25th overall, I have the Jaguars taking Christian Barmore, defensive tackle from Alabama. Jacksonville has got to improve that interior defensive line. They need more interior rush. I think you put Barmore next to Josh Allen. That's really dynamic. Barmore is such a dangerous interior pass rusher. Has to improve as a run defender. But getting the top defensive tackle in the draft this late, I think, is quality value for the Jags and really helps fill a need. All right, next up, I have the Browns taking Jalen Phillips, edge rusher from Miami. Obviously, they paid a huge contract to Myles Garrett. They're going to have to pay Nick Chubb. Baker Mayfield, some other big Denzel Ward. They have some other big contracts to consider coming up here. So I'm not sure you have the money to go into free agency and buy another high-priced defensive end, considering all that money you invested in Garrett. Be better to have the other edge rusher, a good player, first-round skill set on that cheap rookie 5-year contract. Phillips has a ton of upside. He really played well last year, played the run well, got after the quarterback, improved week by week. So I think he'd be a really nice fit there in Cleveland and could be really dangerous across from Garrett, who commands a lot of attention. All right, next up, staying in the AFC North, you got the Ravens. I have them taking Zaven Collins, linebacker from Tulsa. Baltimore could use more linebacker help. I know they took Patrick Queen last year, but Collins also is an edge rusher. They're probably going to lose Matt Judon or Yannick Ngakoue in free agency. So you could play Collins as an inside linebacker. You can play him as a 3-4 outside linebacker. He drops into coverage. He's really dynamic, rushes off the edge, ton of upside. I really like that scheme fit in Baltimore. They could do a lot of different things with him. All right, after the Ravens, you got the Saints. I have them taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker from Notre Dame. The Saints could use that run chase coverage linebacker. Alex Anzalone's hitting free agency, has always had durability issues going back to his time at Florida. I think Owusu-Koramoah makes a ton of sense in that division with matching up with the passing offenses of Tampa Bay, Carolina, Atlanta. Really help the Saints coverage in the middle of the field. Next up, I have the Packers taking Greg Newsome, cornerback from Northwestern. Obviously, Kevin King's probably gone. They need an upgrade. Newsome is a really tough corner, runs the route, prevents separation, ran really fast at his pro day to ease the speed concerns. So I could see Green Bay looking at him as long as they don't flunk him medically. Newsome's had a lot of injuries in college. That's going to be the big issue for him. I could see some teams being wary of taking him because of the medical history. But we'll see. You know, the Packers, I think, definitely need cornerback help. If they wait till round 2, I'm not sure that it's going to be real good value for them there. I think they have better value at other need positions like receiver, offensive line, defensive line in the second and third round than they do at corner. So we'll see how it plays out more with these pro days, but I think Newsome makes sense for Green Bay. 30th overall, I have the Bills taking Jalen Mayfield, right tackle from Michigan. You can play him at guard. You can play him at right tackle. I think this would really help the Bills to get a more balance to their offense, improve that offensive line's ability to get a push in the ground game, open more holes for Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. At this point of the draft, there should be some good offensive line values for Buffalo. I think Mayfield makes sense for them. 31st overall, I have the Chiefs taking Jamin Davis, linebacker from Kentucky. Big upside linebacker, played really well last year. The Chiefs have to improve linebacker. I think Davis would be a plug-and-play upgrade. 32nd overall, I have the Bucs taking Jason Owa, edge rusher from Penn State. 6'5", 250, blinding speed for a guy that size. Just wait to what he does in the pro day workout. Built himself up in the weight room as a really good weight room player. That translates to him being tougher than you expect for a sub 260 defensive end in the ground game. But he's fast off the edge, is raw, needs development. But at this point of the draft, I think it could make sense for Tampa Bay because in the short term, you have an edge rusher to pair with Jason Pierre-Paul and potentially Shaq Barrett if Shaq Barrett's re-signed. Keep those guys fresh for 4 quarters, help lighten the load for Pierre-Paul, help get him to the postseason so he can wreak havoc again when it matters the most. And in the long term, when Pierre-Paul ages out, now you have his replacement in-house there with Owa ready to go. So I think that pick makes a ton of sense for Tampa Bay. All right, let's get into the non-first rounders, the teams that don't have a first-round pick. I have the Seahawks taking Tevin Jenkins, right tackle from Oklahoma State. They got to improve that offensive line. Jenkins has really good skill set and upside. I think this would be a ton of sense for Seattle if he gets there. He could also play guard, but you just take the best offensive lineman available and really try and get that offensive line to be more steady in the ground game and provide better protection for Russell Wilson. Next up, I have the Rams taking Trey Smith, the guard from Tennessee. I think the Rams offense, one of the kind of hidden problems that led to the decline from the Super Bowl year to the past few years was losing Roger Saffold in free agency to Tennessee. I think the interior of the line has not been as good in terms of consistently providing a push in the ground game and allowing more interior pass rush. So I think that, along with Todd Gurley's knee, it's kind of one of the hidden factors that led to the decline in the Sean McVay offense. So you get Trey Smith. He's a big, tough run blocker, is going to help open holes for Cam Akers, will improve the pass protection on the inside for Matthew Stafford. He's a great fit at guard. He played left tackle at Tennessee, so he has that emergency ability, but he'd improve that Rams offensive line. I think he'd be a plug-and-play upgrade for them, which is a really nice value in the second round, and he has a 4-year starter in the SEC, has a lot of experience. All right, Houston Texans in the third round. I have them taking Peyton Turner, defensive end from Houston. Big, 6'6", 270, really good athlete, strong, quick, ton of upside, has a skill set of a first, second rounder, just raw and needs development. So in the third round, I think this is a quality value for Houston, which with losing J.J. Watt, Clowney, Whitney Merciless declining, they got to start getting some more young talent on that offensive line. Obviously, they traded for Shaq Lawson, but he's a rotational backup contributor, not a starter, not a difference maker. So adding more to that defensive line is just going to be a huge necessity for Houston. They got to remake that defensive front. All right, that's this week's mock, so I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. Please like the video, share it with your friends. We're trying to build the channel. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell as well. And please follow us. Please check out the mock. You can read the rest of round 2 and 3. Round 4 is added in. I'm doing position reviews these days. Those are really big, awesome articles. I really enjoy them. Check those out. Readers have really loved those. So we're in that time of year. And of course, position rankings getting updated all the time. New scouting reports going up every day. We got tons of them on the site. Check out Walt's mock as well. All the links are below. So I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. You're awesome. I love you. I'll be back with you soon. Take care.